Mei sat across from her parents at a cozy Chinese restaurant, her chopsticks hovering over a plate of steamed dumplings. She was nodding along politely as her father recounted a story from his youth, her mind quietly elsewhere. The past 2 weeks had been a marathon juggling her job, her life with Eric, and the constant demands of her parents' visit. She had managed to keep parents entertained, maintained her routine with Eric, and still excelled at work. Mei internal, just a few more days. You can do this. Despite the exhaustion, she was thankful for the shift in her parents' approach since their candid conversation. She found solace in one victory: her parents had finally stopped trying to set her up with every eligible bachelor they encountered. The relentless matchmaking had stopped, replaced by a focus on bonding and offering their well-meaning advice. Tonight had been pleasant, peaceful even. She glanced at the calendar on her phone and mentally counted the days until their trip ended. 2 more weeks. I can do this, she told herself. The sound of her father clearing his throat snapped her back to the present. Mr. Yen, Mei, you've been awfully quiet. Is everything all right? Mei forcing a smile, yes, Dad. Just a little tired, that's all. Work's been busy. Before the conversation could continue, a familiar voice called out. Aki, Mei? Is that you? Mei's head whipped around to see Aki approaching their table. Dressed in a tailored suit and exuding his usual polished charm, he was a striking figure. Her heart skipped a beat, not from romantic feelings but from sheer surprise. Mei, Aki. Wow, it's been a while. He smiled warmly, bowing slightly in greeting. Aki, it's good to see you again. You look well. Mei stood to greet him, and her parents exchanged curious glances. Mei, Mom, Dad, this is Aki. We used to date. Her parents stiffened, their gazes sharpening as they assessed the man before them. Aki, ever composed, extended his hand to Mr. Yen. Aki, it's a pleasure to meet you, Mr. and Mrs. Yen. Mei has spoken highly of you in the past. Her mother's eyes lit up, already zeroing in on the potential. Mars Yen, Aki, was it? And what do you do, Aki? Aki, I run a logistics and import-export business. It keeps me busy, but I enjoy the work. Mrs. Yen clasped her hands together, her matchmaking instincts flaring to life. Mrs. Yen, oh, a businessman. And you said you and Mei used to date. Why did it end? Mei nearly choked on her water, shooting her mother a wide-eyed look. Mei, Mom. Aki chuckling, we parted on good terms. Mei's a wonderful woman, but our lives were heading in different directions at the time. Mrs. Yen leaned forward, her eyes lighting up with the determination of someone who had just spotted a golden opportunity. Her smile sharpened as she clasped her hands together, resting them on the table like a benevolent judge presiding over a courtroom. Mrs. Yen, well, directions can change, Aki. And you seem like a very traditional and responsible man, someone who understands the importance of family and stability. These are values we deeply cherish. Her gaze flicked to Mei, pointed and laden with unspoken expectations. Mei resisted the urge to slump in her chair, already dreading where this was going. Mei groaning, Mom, no. Aki and I are friends. Just friends. Mrs. Yen waved a dismissive hand, as though Mei's words were a pesky fly buzzing in her ear. Mrs. Yen turning back to Aki, Aki, are you seeing anyone these days? Married, perhaps? Mei shot Aki an apologetic look, but he, ever composed, simply smiled with the politeness of someone who had navigated countless business meetings with difficult clients. Aki graciously, no, I'm not married. My work keeps me busy, but I haven't ruled out the possibility. This response seemed to ignite Mrs. Yen's matchmaking instincts even further. Mrs. Yen leaning in conspiratorially, busy, yes, but a man like you knows how to balance work and personal life. Mei works hard too, maybe too hard. I keep telling her she needs someone to help her slow down and enjoy life. Don't you think so? Mr. Yen, who had been quietly focused on his tea, raised an eyebrow but said nothing, clearly content to let his wife run the show. Mei felt her face heat as she scrambled for a way to shut this down. Mei quickly, Mom, Aki doesn't need a lecture on my work habits. He knows me well enough to. Mrs. Yen cutting her off, exactly. He knows you well. That's why it's so puzzling to me that nothing ever came of your relationship before. Timing, perhaps? Aki chuckled softly, diffusing the tension with his easy demeanor. Aki, Mrs. Yen, I think Mei and I both knew we were better suited as friends. She has a good head on her shoulders, and I've always admired her drive. But we wanted different things at the time. Mei nodded emphatically, grateful for his tactful handling of the situation. Mei, exactly. Different things, Mom. Let it go. Mrs. Yen ignoring Mei entirely, different things can align over time. Aki, what do you look for in a partner? Mei has so many wonderful qualities. Mei cut in, desperate to steer the conversation away from her love life. Mei, Aki, are you here for work or pleasure? Aki, a bit of both. I have meetings during the day, but I'm enjoying exploring the city in the evenings. What about you? How have you been? Mei. Busy, but good. I'm actually... Mrs. Yen interrupting, you know, Aki, Mei has been working so hard lately. It's why she hasn't found the time to meet someone suitable. Maybe she needs someone like you to remind her to slow down and enjoy life. Mei, Mom. Mrs. Yen, Aki, you sound impressive. Mei could really use a partner with your drive and values. Don't you agree, dear? Mei tight smile, Mom, I don't need a partner. I'm perfectly fine. Mrs. Yen, of course you are. But think of how much happier you'd be with someone who understands you. Mei, louder, Mom. Enough. Aki and I are not getting back together. He's a great guy, but we both moved on. Her tone finally broke through, and Mrs. Yen blinked, sitting back in her chair with a slight frown. Her father, who had been silently observing, finally chimed in. Mr. Yen, let the girl breathe, dear. She's not a child anymore. Mrs. Yen huffed but relented, sitting back with a slight pout. Mrs. Yen muttering, I'm just saying, it wouldn't hurt to consider. Aki glanced at Mei, amusement flickering in his eyes, but he shifted the conversation with practiced ease. Aki smiling kindly, Mrs. Yen, you're very kind to think so highly of me, but Mei and I are in different places now, and I respect her choices. Sensing the awkwardness, Aki decided to excuse himself. Aki, it was lovely seeing you again, Mei. Mr. and Mrs. Yen, enjoy the rest of your evening. I'm afraid I must excuse myself soon. It was lovely to see you all, but I have an early morning tomorrow. He stood, bowing politely to Mr. and Mrs. Yen before offering Mei a small, reassuring smile. Aki, take care, Mei. And good luck. As he walked away, Mei slumped back into her chair, glaring at her mother. Mei, seriously, Mom? That was so awkward. Mrs. Yen shrugging, I'm your mother. It's my job to look out for you. Mei, Mom, please. Can we not do this every time you see a single man within 5 feet of me? Her mother looked unapologetic but softened her tone. Mrs. Yen, we just want you to be happy, Mei. You know that. Mr. Yen finally speaking, he handled it well, at least. Better than I expected. Mei, Mom, Dad, I love you, but you have got to stop. I don't need you playing matchmaker. I can handle my own life. Mrs. Yen sighing, we just want you to be happy, Mei. Aki seemed like such a nice man. Mei, he is, but he's not the one for me. Please, trust me on this. Her father nodded, a rare look of understanding crossing his face. Mr. Yen, fine. We'll stop. For now. They exhaled, relieved but knowing the reprieve might be temporary. Still, she'd survived another round, and that was enough for one night. The rest of the dinner passed uneventfully, but Mrs. Yen's satisfied smile suggested this wasn't the last time she'd bring up Aki or someone like him. As they walked back to the car, Mei found herself texting Eric. Mei text, guess who I ran into? Aki. My mom went full matchmaker mode. His response was almost immediate. Eric text, tell her I said thanks, but I've got this covered. She smiled despite herself. The end of her parents' visit couldn't come soon enough, but at least she knew she'd always have Eric to come home to. Mei stepped into Eric's house, the weight of the evening still pressing heavily on her shoulders. The scent of coffee and faintly burning candle wax greeted her as she kicked off her shoes. Eric was on the couch, laptop perched on his lap, but the moment he saw her, he set it aside and stood. Eric softly, rough night? Mei sighed deeply, dropping her purse onto the floor as she walked over to him. Mei, you could say that. She sank onto the couch next to him, leaning her head back and closing her eyes. Eric slid an arm around her shoulders, pulling her closer. Eric, what happened? Mei, oh, you know, the usual. Dinner started fine, and then Aki walked in. Eric's eyebrows rose slightly. Eric, Aki. The ex? Mei nodding, yep. And of course, my mom jumped right into matchmaking mode. She practically interrogated him, asking about his job, his relationship status, why we didn't work out. It was mortifying. He handled it well, but still, I wanted to disappear under the table. Eric chuckled lightly, brushing her hair back from her face. Eric, sounds like Aki passed the parental test, at least. Not that it matters. You're here with me. Mei turned her head to look at him, her expression a mix of exhaustion and affection. Mei, you're handling this better than I am. Eric, it's easy when I'm not the one in the hot seat. They both laughed softly, the tension starting to melt away. Eric, why don't you just tell them, Mei? About us, about the wedding, about everything. It would end all of this matchmaking madness. No more awkward dinners, no more trying to dodge their expectations. Mei sighed again, sitting up straight and running her fingers through her hair. Mei, I've been thinking about it more and more. Tonight definitely pushed me closer to that decision. But I don't know. I'm scared of how they'll react. Eric turned to face her fully, his hands resting gently on her knees. Eric, I get that. But you've been juggling so much work, us, your parents. It's not sustainable, and it's not fair to you. Or to us. If they're as traditional as you say, they'll be upset at first, sure. But they'll come around. They love you, Mei. Mei nodding slowly, I know they do. And honestly, after these last few weeks, I understand them a little better. They just want me to be happy and secure. It's their way of showing love, even if it feels like pressure sometimes. Eric grinning, you're already their overachieving daughter. Throw happy marriage into the mix, and they'll be bragging about you to everyone they know. Mei laughed, leaning into him. Mei, you make it sound so simple. Eric, it's not simple. But we're in this together. Whatever you decide, I'll back you up. Mei kissed him softly, her heart feeling a little lighter. Mei, thank you, Eric. For being, well, you. Eric teasing, you mean your calm, understanding, and devilishly handsome husband. Mei rolled her eyes but smiled. Mei, exactly that. She rested her head against his chest, listening to the steady rhythm of his heartbeat. Mei, maybe I'll tell them soon. Or at least start preparing them for the idea. I just want it to be the right moment. Eric, whenever you're ready. I'll be here. For the first time that evening, Mei felt a sense of peace. Thank you for listening to If at All Modern. If you like this content, please like, subscribe, share and hit that notification bell for more from this series.